In this tutorial I will show you how you can plot data using Google Charts with PHP. So here is the contents of this tutorial. First a short introduction, then an overview of Google Charts. Then we will create a database that you can use in order to retrieve data. Then we will show how we can retrieve data using PHP on the server side part. Then we will show how we can plot data from the database. Then we'll use this Google chart on the client side. And then we'll see some improvements that we can make in our applications. So first a short introduction. So here you see an example where Google Charts has been used. By using Google Charts in combination with PHP, you can create different types of charts on your web applications, like this example, where I'm just plotting some temperature data here, showing an x-axis, y-axis, a legend, title, etc. So by using this Google chart, it's quite easy to plot charts like this. And also with Google Charts you have lots of other chart types like pie, etc. Here is the final application that we are going to create or show in this tutorial. So it's a basic PHP web application, and the data which you see here in this plot and in this table are retrieved from a MySQL database. And this chart or plot has been created with Google Chart. And the data here from the database are also shown in an ordinary HTML table. So the data shown here is the same as you see here in the plot. Also, it's possible to select what kind of data you want to show in the plot here. So here's a drop-down menu where you can select which sensor that you want to see data for. So here you will get a list of different sensors that I retrieve from the database, and also you can specify the amount of data you want to see. So here's you can specify a from date time. You specify the date and the time where the data should start here, and the end date where the data should end. So then specify which sensor you want to see data from, and from and to date, like this. This will be our final application, but we will take it step by step. So the purpose with this tutorial is to demonstrate how we can create plots, charts and diagrams creating or using PHP web applications. But PHP has no built-in functionality for creating such charts or plots. So in this tutorial we will use a package or an API from Google called Google Charts. And also we use MySQL for data storage. And we will use PHP to retrieve data from that database on the server side using PHP code. Then we will use Google Charts on the client side to create plots, charts based on the data from this database. So in this tutorial we will need the following tools. Of course we need to have the PHP programming language or scripting language. Also you need typically to host this PHP on a web server. I will just use an existing web server with PHP installed and also MySQL database installed. But you can create your own web server, or you can choose or use an existing hosting provider that has these web servers up and running for you. We will use Visual Studio Code to create PHP code. In order to upload the files, the PHP files, to the web server, we need typically an FTP program, and I will use a FTP program called WinSCP, but you can of course use any kind of FTP program. And of course I need this MySQL database and this PHP MyAdmin tool. This typically is part of MySQL, basically just a web interface where you can communicate with the MySQL database. You can create databases, create tables, run queries, etc. And then we will need to use this Google Chart API or library as part of our PHP code. I will also, in some of the examples, use Bootstrap, which is a CSS JavaScript library, and I will use it to improve the visual appearance on the different web pages. So then next, an overview of this Google Chart library or API from Google. I guess there exist many different libraries that you can use, or APIs or frameworks for making charts and plots on your web pages. And all these libraries typically use JavaScript, and they are implemented on the client side of your application. The great thing about that is these libraries make it independent of which language you are using on the server side. In this tutorial I will use PHP, but I could use the same Google Chart library on other server-side frameworks like ASP.NET Core, etc. And basically Google Charts is an API or framework or library, whatever you want to call it, for creating charts on your web pages. It's free to use, and it's a client-side framework or API, and it's quite easy to use, at least when you first know how to use it. So when you are able to create your first example, you can basically copy that code in order to create new types of applications, new types of data you want to retrieve and plot, or create different chart types, like you have line charts, you have bar chart, column chart, pie chart, etc. And it's quite easy to change what kind of chart type that you want to use. So here's an overview of the different steps you need to do in order to implement Google Charts within your web pages. So first you need to load the Google Charts libraries. Then you need to list the data to be charted. Typically that data comes from a database and are retrieved and generated server-side using PHP, etc. In this tutorial we will use PHP. You need to select different types of options to customize your chart. Here you specify chart type, x-axis, y-axis, title, legends, etc. Then you need to create a chart object with a specific ID that you choose by yourself. Then final part is to display the chart on your web page, and then you need to create a div tag where you use that ID that you specify here, and then you are able to show that Google chart on your web page. So we will take this step by step. Let's start by including these Google Charts libraries. So here is typically the code that you need to include on your web page. You need to include this JavaScript script, and then you need to also include these packages or libraries like that. So let's start by creating an empty web page where I include these Google Chart libraries. So I start by using this file I have already created, just called index.php. It's basically a basic HTML file. Here you have HTML tag start and stop, and you have a header and a script tag and some body where have some hello world, how are you, whatever. So let's use this basic and empty HTML file as a starting point. So I can just copy that file. I can call it plot or something, and then let's open that one. So next, now we just need to include these Google Chart libraries. Then I just copy these lines from my PowerPoint here. So I start with that one, and I just put that one in the header like this, and the other two put it in this script section that I have created here, like this. So basically that's all you need in order to start using this Google Chart library. So you typically need to include this one inside this header section of your HTML file, and put these two lines in a scripts section. One small thing, it shouldn't be header, it should be just head, because it's in the head section that you store these kind of metadata, while the header section is something else. Typically it's something you want to display on top of your web page, so then make sure head, put that one in the head section, and these two lines in a script section like this. So now we have included these Google Charts libraries as shown here. Next now is to actually create the chart, etc. So here you see a basic example. So here on top I have included these libraries here and here. Next we need to do is typically to create a draw chart function using JavaScript as this example. So then you just need to create a constant data here, and then use the google.visualization.array to data type to data table like this. Then you have the x-axis here and the y-axis here. Basically it's a two-dimensional table, so the time here is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then here I'm just plotting some dummy data from a given temperature sensor, temp 36 or something, with some data 22.5, 23.1, etc. like this. And then in this example I'll just hard code the data. Later I will show how you can create this data table by retrieving data from MySQL database. Then you need to create a constant of options. Here you need to specify the title, which is presented here. Just type temperature data. You need to have an x-axis, which is shown here, a y-axis, which is shown here. You need to specify a curve type. Here you have different options. I just use this default one called function, which is seen here like this, but you have also all the alternatives here. All details regarding these different options here, you will find detailed description of these options on the Google Chart web page. Here I also specify legend. You can either choose to have a legend or not. Here I specify I want to have a legend and the position, in this case, on the right side. Next, we need to create a new constant, called chart, where we create an object of this Google visualization. Here I specify I want to use line chart, and then here I just specify and use this document.getElementById and specify the name of my ID, which I have specified here as part of the body using this div tag. So div ID my chart, and here I specify the style with the size of the chart with width and height. So this is the width and the height of the chart, and I need to specify with a specific ID. Here you can use whatever you like, but that ID that you specify here need to be the same as you specify here. So this ID and this ID should be the same. And then finally I just use this chart.draw, and then I specify the data to plot, which is specified here, and the different options, which is specified here. So let's create this code step by step. So now we are back in our plot.php file. We have created this library, so let's now just start by creating this draw chart function. So then I just here, and it is pure JavaScript, so then function, make a function draw chart like this. And the name of this function is the same as specified here. So basically you can create another name for your function, but the name you specify here in this google.charts set on load callback, etc. This is the name of the function that should be called, and that's the name of the function that you create here. So these need to match. So now, basically now I created the function. So now, next we need to create the data that are going to be plotted. So then I just create a constant. I just create a variable or a constant called the data equals to Google dot visualization like this. So spelling mistake here, so like this. Dot array to data table like this. Then need to specify the data itself, so then I just start by creating this two-dimensional table. So here I start specifying first the header, which could be just time, and the y-axis, temperature sensor or something, and then just a comma and a new row where we now start specifying the data itself. So then time it just could be 1, 2, 3, etc., comma, and then now I need to specify the temperature sensor value. It could be 22.5 or something, a comma, and then I just need to specify more data. So then I can just copy more of this, so then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Can change some of the data here. Something like that. So now I have created a two-dimensional array with the time here, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10, and then some temperature sensor data, which I have specified here. Also here I need to specify a semicolon. So now we have created the data by using this google.visualization.array to data table like this, and the two-dimensional array. Now next we need to specify the options, different options. So then just create a new constant, options equal to like this, and then you can start specifying different, also need to have a semicolon here, different types of options that we need to use. Typically I want to have a title, and I just type title, colon, and the name of the title. It could be temperature data, whatever. If I want to specify more options, I just need to have a comma here, and then it's a spelling mistake here, title, a new option. It could be this x-axis, colon, then I need to specify title. On a title it could be just time or something. Typically also want to have a unit in seconds like this. I want to specify more options, so then I just need to use this comma. And now the y-axis like this. And the title for that one, and that could be temperature or something, and I'll specify a unit. It could be degrees Celsius or something. So now we have specified different options, title, x-axis, y-axis, and we can create different types of options here. Typically also want to specify this curve type. It could be, here we have different options. One of the options is functions, but you find all these options and the different alternatives on the Google chart webpage. If you want to have a legend, you can type legend, colon, and I can specify the position like this. I want to have it on the right side like this. Now I have specified a set of options where you use comma after each line. If on the last line you don't use a comma, if this is the final option like this. So now I have specified the data we want to plot and how the appearance of the chart with different options like title, x-axis, y-axis, curve type, and legend like this. Next, we need to create the plot itself. So here in the body, instead of hello world, I can just type something other here. In this header one, plotting data or something. And instead of how are you, I can type here you see some temperature data from the sensor or whatever. And next we need to create this div tag in order to specify where the plot should be, like this, and then a div end like this, and in between here we need to specify an ID, which should be the ID for the plot, like this, and then you can call it whatever you like. I just call it my chart or something. If you have multiple charts on your web page, you can have chart 1, 2, 3, whatever. And then you need to specify a style. Like this. And here you need to specify the width. It's typically specify in pixel, so then you could have 1200 pixel or something. Then a semicolon, and then you need to specify the height, like this. Could be 600 pixel or something. Now I have specified where in my web page I want to show the chart. I use an ID, my chart, like this. Now I go back to this draw chart function where we have created the data and the different options. Now we need to just make the code for actually drawing and plotting the chart on the web page. So then I just create a new constant, const. I can call it chart like this, equals to new. So here we create an object of this Google chart function, tool or plot, new Google dot visualization dot, and here you specify the line or plot chart type. I want to have just an ordinary line chart, but here you have different options as well, and these different options are well specified and described on the Google chart web page. Then here I need to specify this document dot get element by ID, like this, and then in parentheses I need to specify my ID, which I have created here, my chart, like this, and then of course a semicolon after here, and then we just need to draw it. So then I just use this chart we have created dot and use this draw method, which is part of the Google chart library, and then I need to specify two parameters, namely which data to plot, which is presented here in the data. So here I type data, and then the other I need to specify which option I want to use. Then data, comma, options, like this, and of course a semicolon like this. So basically that should be everything. You start by including these different Google chart libraries. We need to create a JavaScript function. In this case I call it draw chart, which is the same, which is the name I have specified here. So this name and this name needs to be the same. And then I start by creating a two-dimensional array of data which I specify what kind of data I want to plot with an x-axis and a y-axis. And then I need to specify some options like title, x-axis, y-axis, curve type, if I want to have a legend or not, and the position. We have many other options as well. These are described on the Google chart web page. Finally, we created a div here in the bottom with a specific ID, my chart, and a width and a height. And that specific ID, we needed to use it here when I was creating and drawing the chart itself. So then I created a chart here using this Google dot visualization and the chart type, in this case line chart. And then I need to find this or use this ID, which I have specified here. And then I finally just draw the chart on the web page using this chart.draw with the argument data, which is specified here, and the different options. That should be it. Then I should just save it. Now I need to upload it to my server. Then I just use this FTP program in SAP to upload my plot.php file to the server. Then I can just go to my web browser. I need to specify my web server address, which is this address. Of course, you have another address for your web server. Then I need to specify the name of the file. Then just plot.php like this. Click enter, php, click enter. And then you see you got this final result. Here we are creating a basic chart on our web page. Here we have a header, some description text, and then the chart itself with the data on x-axis, y-axis, a title, and a legend. The data is specified here. Later we will see how we can retrieve that data from an MySQL database. Here we specify different options. There are also existing lots of other options that you can specify, like line color, etc. And finally, we need to create this div to specify where on the web page we wanted to plot the chart, and the width and the height. And then you just use these 2 lines of code in order to create the chart itself and draw it. So basically, this is the first example how to create a basic chart on your web page using this Google chart. And I see I have a spelling mistake here, so this chart is, I guess, the default type. I wanted to use this curve type called functions, but it wasn't an S there, so I removed this one. Save it, upload the file to the server, click refresh here, and then you see I got this more smoother plot type like this. So the default, if you want the default chart type, which was the first one, you don't need to specify this one. If you want another curve type, you can use this option curve type and then specify what kind of curve type. What kind of curve type do you prefer? It's up to you. I like this one. It's smoother like this, but you have different options. So here on the Google Charts web page, you find lots of information, resources, examples, etc. Here you have Get Started. Here you have a chart gallery showing the different types of charts that you can create. We was creating a basic line chart, but you have a histogram, bar chart, column chart, pie chart, etc. And for all these you find lots of code examples that you can just take a look at in order to create your own specified chart. So here you basically get all the resources that you need in order to customize your Google charts, specifying different types of charts, specifying different types of options, curve types, etc.